They say it happened in the summer when the desert cracked open like old bone, when even the coyotes quit howling cause the heat had burned the sound from their throats. The sun rose mean that year, burned red and bitter, like it was angry at the world. And out of that furnace came a girl. She walked alone, barefoot across the dirt road into the town of Dry Creek. Her dress was torn, her face dusted with wind and sorrow. Folks looked at her like she was a ghost. Half of them afraid, the rest disgusted. Nobody spoke. She didn't ask for food or water. Just stood there in front of the saloon and said, soft but clear, "No man wants me." Wasn't a plea. Wasn't a cry. Just truth spoken by someone who'd stopped expecting kindness. Old Sheriff Dobbins spat his chew and told her to move on. "Ain't got room for strays here," he said. But at the far end of the street, leaning against the hitch rail, stood Samuel Kearney, a man carved out of quiet and grief. Used to be they called him Iron Sam, back when his wife was alive and his ranch full of laughter. But that was years ago. She'd died in winter, and he'd buried his heart right alongside her. He watched the girl stand there, shoulders straight despite the dust and stares. Something in her eyes, steady, stubborn, like a wild thing refusing to die, pulled him from the shadows. When the sheriff stepped toward her, Sam spoke for the first time in months. "She can stay with me," he said. The whole street went still. Then came the whispers, ugly, coiled things. "You'll regret it, Sam. She's Apache. You lost your mind." But Sam didn't answer. Just turned, tipped his hat to the girl, and said, "Come on." And she followed. The old storyteller pauses here, his voice low and crackling like the fire. "That's how it began," he says, eyes half lost to memory, with a man who'd lost everything, and a girl who never had a chance to begin with. Life on the Kearney Ranch was a hard teacher. Sunlight came sharp, the wind colder than memory, and the fences seemed to stretch forever. But Tala, yes, that was her name, Tala, took to the work like she'd been born for it. She fixed the chicken coops, mended fences, fed the horses. She spoke little, but when she did, her voice carried the weight of mountains. Samuel noticed she never wasted words. Each one meant something. He didn't pry into her past, didn't ask where she came from or what ghosts she carried. He just let her be, and somehow, the silence between them turned companionable. At night, the wind sang through the mesquite, and sometimes he'd find her outside, humming a tune, soft, ancient, and mournful. A song that didn't belong to any church, but felt holier than all of them combined. Then came the rumors. The neighbors didn't take kindly to Samuel sheltering an Apache girl. The Rucker boys, mostly, mean men with too much whiskey and too little work. Their father, Clint Rucker, had been feuding with Sam for years over land. This gave him a new excuse. "Man's gone loco," Clint said at the saloon. "Taquine is savage like her. Next thing, she'll scalp him in his sleep." They laughed, spat, and swore it was a matter of time. One evening, Samuel rode into town for flour and nails. Found Clint and his men blocking the store door. "You keeping that redskin up at your place?" Clint asked, voice dripping poison. Sam just looked at him, steady as a church bell. "She's under my roof," he said. "That's all you need to know." Clint smirked. "Ain't natural what you're doing. Town's talking, Sam. They say she'll bring trouble." "Maybe," Sam said, stepping past him. "But maybe trouble's been here longer than she has." He left them there, fuming in their own hate. That night, back at the ranch, the horizon bled red. Tala stood by the fence, eyes scanning the hills. "Someone watched us today," she whispered. Sam nodded slowly. He'd seen the tracks too, fresh boot prints near the barn that weren't his. The storyteller leans back now, drawing a breath that seems to carry desert dust. "Peace on the prairie never lasts," he mutters. "There's always a storm brewing behind the sunset." The storm came before the sun did. At first it was just the smell, smoke, bitter and crawling. Then came the sound. Horses snorting, men shouting, the crackle of fire. Samuel burst from the house, rifle in hand. The barn was burning, flames leaping high into the starless dark. Out front stood Clint Rucker and his men. 5 of them, torches in hand, guns on their hips. "You should have listened," Sam, Clint called. "Ain't no place for her kind here. Leave, Sam warned, voice like gravel. But Clint just laughed, took a swig of whiskey, and fired. The shot grazed Sam's shoulder, spinning him back. He dropped to one knee, clutching his arm, the world swimming red. And that's when the wind changed. From the smoke, Tala stepped out, silent, steady. Her eyes were no longer soft, but sharp as obsidian. In her hands, she held not a gun, but a bow, old, carved with symbols the white men couldn't read. She pulled an arrow from her quiver and drew, smooth as breath. The first arrow flew through the firelight, whispering death. One man fell, then another. Panic broke among the rest. Clint cursed, drew his revolver, but before he could fire, her next arrow pinned his hat to the post beside his head. She could have killed him, chose not to. That's what made it worse. Go, she said. One word, cold as steel. They ran, even Clint. When the dust settled, Sam was sitting against the porch rail, bleeding but alive. He watched her approach, smoke curling around her like a spirit come to claim the dawn. You saved me, he said. She knelt beside him, tore a strip of cloth from her dress, and bound his wound. You saved me first, she whispered. And that's when he knew. She wasn't just some lost girl. She was the daughter of a fallen Apache war chief, the last of her people, trained in silence and shadow. Her tribe had been wiped out in a government raid years back. She'd survived, alone. The storyteller's voice softens. Some say the ghosts of her tribe guided her arrows that morning. Others say she was just that good. When the sheriff rode out 2 days later, he found Clint's men gone, the barn blackened, and Sam patching what was left. The lawman knew better than to ask questions he didn't want answered. He wrote it off as self-defense and rode away, shaking his head. But stories travel faster than horses. Soon folks were whispering about the Apache girl who defended a ranch with bow and fire. Some said she was a spirit in flesh. Others swore they'd seen her eyes glow like coals before dawn. Months passed. Sam healed. The ranch rose again from the ashes, stronger this time. Tala stayed. Spoke more now. Taught Sam the Apache names for stars, for wind, for mercy. He taught her to read, to ride, to live without running. Years later, travelers heading west would pass by that valley and swear they saw 2 riders, one tall and grizzled, one lean and proud, moving side by side through the golden dust. They said the land around their ranch never dried up, even when drought took the rest. And every night, if you listen close, you could hear her song, soft and haunting, carried on the wind that rolled through Dry Creek Valley. The storyteller pokes the fire now, eyes glinting like old amber. Funny thing, ain't it? He says. The girl no man wanted became the kind of woman no man could ever forget. He leans back, the fire crackling low, the desert wind whispering outside the tent. And that, my friends, he says, voice fading to a hush, is how legends are born.